Hi there, this is Josh from Literary Gladiators, and today I'm here to talk about an audio short story. What makes it an audio short story is that I listened to a short story in the fantasy genre on somebody's YouTube channel. The channel's called Fantasy Distractions, and a few months ago when I announced that we were restructuring, the creator of the channel and the author of the short stories, his name is Joseph Angotti, he reached out to me and asked if I would be able to look over something that he's written and respond to it on the channel. And I like to uphold my promises, and I thought that it would be a good idea. So the short story that I'm going to be discussing is Dr. Kallen, The Samurai and Paladin by Joseph Angotti. This is Fantasy Distraction number 46. On Joseph's channel, he has different seasons for the works that he puts together. Many of them are standard short stories, and then some of them are shorter than what you would presume is a short story. But these short stories stand alone, but at the same time, they're all set within the same universe, kind of like an interconnected series, but at the same time he's exploring different characters, different backgrounds, different stories. And they're set on the planet Fenrir, spelt F-E-N-R-I-R. It is in the fantasy genre, and in this particular short story, we follow a female doctor named Dr. Kallen, who is a very respected, very highly admired doctor and scientist who put together many of the laws as far as research and experimentation is concerned. Her most successful feat is in Project Starlight, which refers to the restoring of a body, which they named Kai, that they found frozen in a cargo ship. He was closed within a case, which they had to keep it closed in order for the body to survive, but she continued to work on it until the body was restored. She felt that Kai was going to do the general population good, but the Galaxy Federation had other plans and utilized him the way that they wanted, which she was not, she did not agree with the way that they were handling him, and she felt that the way that they were handling him was very unfair, and when she saw the physical strain that they were doing, she put in her resignation and went about her own way. The downside, though, was that Dr. Kallen was wrapped up in her work. She was really passionate about what she did, and being torn away from that was devastating. She didn't have much of a family life. What she got joy out of was what she accomplished on the job, and those that she worked with, like Kai, was doing research on, she was a parental figure, which we do not get an age from her, but they do make mention to the fact that she is not in the greatest physical condition, but I think that that has a lot to do with age. But at the same time, I don't see her as being old enough to serve as a grandparent figure. So I'm pegging her to be between the ages of 45 and 55. However, we do not get the details as far as that is concerned. But when they find that there is someone else in a cargo ship that was spliced with a feline, this subject's name is Cynthia, she starts to work with Cynthia and make her the hero that she wanted to make out of Kai. And that's the way that the story concludes. But I think that the strongest points within this story is the way that it is told. I think that we get a great idea about the way that the characters feel, and we get a great idea, I think, the way that Joseph is with, I think he does a great job when it comes to sequence and making this story flow. My criticism with this would be the fact that I really didn't get an idea of the atmosphere and the setting. Perhaps that could be the downside to jumping in medias res, per se. Depending on what... I would have to go back and read earlier parts to see what kind of planet Fenrir is and what the atmosphere is like. I think that when it comes to showing and not telling, I could give him a benefit of the doubt on the fact that it is a shorter work, but I think there's a lot that I would have wanted to learn about the characters within this piece. I think that he did a great job making me want to see them again in another story. I think the way that the story ended, it leaves the opportunity for that to happen. But I had to incorporate what I would imagine particular details are like, because I really didn't have an idea of the place in which we were dealing with. It's definitely a dystopia of some sort, but I'm not sure. I really don't have an image. I have to create my own image as to what the what kind of setting I'm dealing with. To me, this really reminded me of my experience of reading Street of Crocodiles by Bruno Scholz. That is, Street of Crocodiles is a completely different setting, but if you just read that short story, you're not really going to have much of an idea as to what is taking place unless you read the other stories surrounding it, even though it is a standalone piece that can be read on its own. I think that I would probably benefit more, and I think that you, the reader, would probably benefit more from reading the other stories, perhaps earlier ones that incorporate the planet of Fenrir and set up the landscape as to everything that's taking place. But as far as the sequencing and caring about the characters is concerned, I feel that Joseph succeeded. And I would like to... I'm interested in learning more about Dr. Kallen, Kai, Cynthia. I want to see more of them. And my feeling, I felt a sense of intensity and anger toward the Galaxy Federation. I was not happy with them. I felt that the things that they were doing were outrageous in how tyrannical they were in pulling Dr. Kallen from the project so that they can use Kai to their desire, and it wasn't in a positive way. So I think that Joseph Angotti has something good going with Fantasy Distractions and his exploration into this series. I think that he, I would like to examine his channel a little bit more, because I think that I would learn a little bit more about the story that he is putting together. And I think if there's one thing that I'm going to do in the future, I would probably want to start with either that season or start all the way from the beginning and work my way, because I think that that would lay things out a little bit more, which is very much what I should be doing with The Street of Crocodiles by Bruno Scholz. But I will leave a link down below to his channel so that you can get an idea as to what he does. If you're into fantasy and you're into short stories, I think that it's something you might want to check out. But if you like what you see on this channel, please be sure to subscribe. We have a lot of great content going up this year, and the contributors that are taking part are doing a magnificent job. Hopefully, within the next week or so, there will be profiles for all 23 active contributors. Be sure to give this video a good ol' like. If you want to talk about this a little bit more, please do so in the comments, and we can have a good conversation. And if you really like what you see, please support our channel on Patreon, for the money that we make will allow us to provide you, the viewer, with even more great content. For now, and as always, I encourage you to keep reading.